Joey, what are we looking at right now?
Barry White's hand. This is a chair that is modeled after Barry White. He was big. You won't get this on an airplane. If you get this at all, you get the hand with the finger. That's on certain flights.
Why are we here and what are we talking about?
We're talking about Barry White being a producer rather than everybody knowing him as a star, singer, artist, recording artist. Because really, we did the first video, other than Elephant Parts, which was done by the fellow from the Monkees whose mother created, this is a whole other story, created the Whiteout.
Whiteout.
Yeah, not Wipeout, that's Safari, so that's another record. But you know, that was a great era of the 60s. And Barry White came into the picture with MTV. You know, MTV used to, at that time, you used to have to pay to be on MTV if you had a video. So we had a 16mm version of Barry White doing Ecstasy. And he was a talking singer. You know, I mean, he that voice was the mellifluous tones. And Barry and I had a war with each other. My office is right next door to him. I became his spiritual advisor. You know, he was very, very kind and wonderful with everybody except me, because I was always on his case. And I said inappropriate things to him. You know, he had a swimming pool, had 2 pools in Encino at his house. And I said, what's this, 1 for each leg? So, you know, Barry wasn't really happy with a lot of the comments I made. I was being funny with him, I thought. I think there was a house on the hill, only house on this big hill in Encino that overlooked his property, which is huge. And I said to the cook who was outside having a cigarette in those days, and I said, why does that house up there? And he said, well, they won't want to move. And Barry tried to buy the house, they won't move. I said, well, all he's got to do is some nude sunbathing and they'll be out of here in an hour. So, you know, Barry heard it from the cook. I got in trouble. I always was in trouble. He sent me to 20th Century Fox to pick up his money. He hated the company because he said, I want elephant money, elephant money. I said, you're going to get Elephant Parts, which was Mike Nesmith. So now I get him the money, you know, a check for, I think it was $6 million. And Claudine drove up with her big, long acrylic nails with the Rolls Royce. And the other funny thing was I had invited Barry to dinner. We were going to shoot an album cover. And we wanted Grammy, incidentally, for that one, where we had fake fur on there. And I told Barry, I said, it looks like some of your hair's on your chest. You know, I was always goofing with him. That's why he and I were oil and water. But Barry, are we going?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, the video starts with Barry in the studio.
As a producer. Barry was a producer. He was primarily a producer. Russ Regan discovered him in West LA. He was in Watts, and he was a wonderful producer for everybody. He was a professional, a perfectionist, articulate. He had a great style about him. He was lovable and charming. And all of those things worked for him with other artists. And this particular footage you're looking at now was the first. It was 16mm, shot in 16mm, Ecstasy. And he takes you into how to make a record, which is what it used to be when we had the fader switches and pots and VU meters. There was another thing called the Duro meter that came about. They're using it for scoring films now, and that does not have a VU needle on it. It has colored, it's color coded. You know, the industry is great with all this technology. I wish Barry were here now. He's still a genius no matter what. And he would have evolved into this great music giant. He is a giant. But, you know, he wouldn't have had, I don't think we would have had as much prison music as we've had. You know, we've gone through a rough spot with this music that has no melody, essentially. It has for certain years. Maybe it's just younger and I'm older, I don't know. But Barry, I think, had a little bit more melodic sense. And you know, Russ Regan, who discovered him, and Neil Diamond, and the Bee Gees, and Elton John, said he loved Barry. Of course, he gave Barry a shot. And Russ died about 2 years ago. And he said to me, he said, I'm a song man. I'm just a song man. I know good songs. And Barry was good songs.
Is there anything else in the video that people should look for when they watch it?
Watch his hands. He has a beautiful expression in everything he does. He said it's like a chef, you know, and he was delicate. For a big guy like that, he was very delicate. Unusual to see a big guy. He didn't lumber around, you know, and he's just He always said that Rodney Ripple Young, is that his name, Rippy Young?
Rodney Allen Rippey.
Yeah. He said, now there's a young genius. You know, he was always pushing the little black kids to be something better than they were. He was wonderful for that. And thank God we did that.
Is that a wrap?
I think it's a rap. It's a Reynolds rap.